U.S. firms spend an incredible $140 billion every single year on the complex machinery of professional selling. Break that massive number down, and you find that a single business sales call costs a company about $350. Because it takes an average of 4.3 calls to close a deal, a firm sinks roughly $1,500 into the process before a contract is signed. Archetypal used car salesmen rely on hard sell tactics, adversarial pitches, and manipulation to close one-time market transactions. At a baseline cost of $1,500 per closed deal, firms replace the reliance on killer instinct with revenue engineering and structured problem-solving. This table outlines the shift to modern professional selling. B2B methods require two-way communication to create specific customer value. It demands a problem-solving instinct, measuring success by long-term customer satisfaction rather than the immediate capture of a single sale. The professional representative functions as an extension of the firm's marketing process, protecting high-stakes corporate investments over time. Different B2B roles require distinct skill sets and generate varying levels of value for the firm. This chart maps business sales tasks from routine service to creative selling. Support and maintenance roles occupy the left, keeping accounts stocked. Missionary reps build goodwill with influencers. On the far right, sales development requires the most creativity, motivating customers to change suppliers. Operating at this level requires adaptive selling, the ability to identify a buyer's behavioral style and tailor a strategy to match it in real time. Crucially, high ROI development roles require the salesperson to function as an agile problem solver to win over new accounts. Before a representative enters a room, they must execute the preliminary phase. This involves analyzing major account data files to set specific, measurable objectives for the call. This diagram details three buying-selling models. The top formularized AIDA model is structured but inflexible. The middle buying decisions model guides prospects through smaller, logical subdecisions. The bottom problem-solving model is the B2B standard, where salespeople integrate product knowledge to solve specific buyer problems. This model relies on expert power. For the interaction to be successful, the buyer must acknowledge the seller's qualifications and professional experience. The pitch architecture must match problem complexity. Selecting the wrong format for a sophisticated buyer will cause the negotiation to collapse. Verbal objections are standard features of a sales presentation. A trained professional expects resistance and manages it through specific, repeatable steps. This exhibit outlines a four-step method for processing sales resistance. First, establish readiness by finding agreement, then clarify the objection through questioning. Finally, mentally formulate an order adjustment and use further questioning to guide the prospect into answering their own objection. When resistance is managed correctly, the closing stage becomes a non-manipulative confirmation of terms. Techniques like the balance sheet close simply finalize an agreement that has already been logically built. A signed contract is a liability without relationship maintenance. This is a factor that far outweighs product dissatisfaction or pricing. Every closed deal must immediately transition into retention and customer relationship management. From the macro-level perspective, these individual face-to-face interactions are just components within a massive, larger system overseen by the sales manager. This diagram illustrates the four core functions of sales management: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling the force. Managers use different structural designs. The simple line organization features an unbroken chain of authority from management to the salesperson. In contrast, the line and staff organization adds specialized support roles, like analysts, who advise management but do not direct field agents. The functional organization is the most complex. In this model, staff specialists possess direct line authority over salespeople for specific tasks, such as training. As market complexity grows, management must architect specialized support networks to prevent the field force from being overwhelmed. Within these structures, firms must decide how to divide their target market through specialization. This chart shows geographic specialization, the most common method, treating regional divisions as separate profit centers. Product line specialization sacrifices geographic efficiency to guarantee deep technical knowledge of specific product categories. Massive organizations synthesize these methods into combination structures, balancing territories, products, and customer accounts. The final requirement for this architecture is the mathematical sizing of the force. Managers use the workload method to calculate the number of calls needed, or the incremental method to match the cost of a new hire to expected revenue. Overhiring drains profits, while underhiring leaves market share exposed. Precise mathematical sizing is required to optimize the sales machine. B2B marketing success occurs when individual execution aligns with organizational architecture. The individual salesperson must wield expert power, utilize adaptive communication, and execute systematic objection handling during every face-to-face interaction. Simultaneously, management must deploy those individuals using logical specialization and precise workload calculations. Professional selling functions as a component of corporate architecture, converting human relationships into a $140 billion revenue engine.